you just tell me a little bit about what not these new student loans, but these student loans that were in default? What does all of this mean for those students?
Yeah, so I just want to clarify, first of all, that these are the announcement about the resumption of involuntary collections has to do with defaulted borrowers. So these are people that would have been in default pre-COVID. It is not for people that are maybe in forbearance or maybe they are like 90 days past due on their loans. These are people that had been over 270 days past due on their loans and actually in a default status pre-COVID. So a lot of confusion around that with borrowers in my experience. So when COVID started, the Department of Education stopped collecting on all loans, including defaulted student loans. And then in the fall of 2023, they resumed billing borrowers that weren't in default. And now they are starting to resume the involuntary collections, meaning wage garnishment, tax refund offset, Social Security garnishment of defaulted loans.
Okay, so kind of going back to what you said originally, this is something. There are the student loans. Like I just graduated in, oh man, 2021. My student loans, with everything that happened, these are different than though these defaulted loans that. So my student loans currently are different than the defaulted loans. Then is what you're saying.
Well, they're not different. They're likely under the same federal student loan programs. But if you just graduated in 2021, which is the middle of COVID, so you probably didn't start being due for payments until the end of 2023. Um, it's it's your loans are not in default. They haven't let anybody. There was sort of this on ramp period when they started billing borrowers like you at the end of 2023. So there's no way nobody's defaulted since COVID.
Okay, all right. So that makes sense then. All right. I just want that clarifies a lot for me then. So with these loans that are now being collected from from the default, what does that mean for those borrowers now? Is this something that they've had to prepare for? Is this something they knew was going to happen? How does that work?
I mean, many of these borrowers were probably experiencing these involuntary collection activities prior to COVID, and then they just sort of stopped with COVID. But other borrowers, they may not have experienced the involuntary collections prior. But anybody so if you log into studentaid.gov, you'll see the word default as your status if this applies to you. And if it does apply to you, you can reach out to the default resolution unit and talk about rehabilitating or consolidating the loans out of default so they don't start garnishing your wages or taking your tax refund or garnishing your Social Security.
So with everything that is going on now, so those student loans that aren't in default, like me personally, we still don't have to worry about that right now.
Not the involuntary collections, no. They only do those activities if you actually default on the loans. If you become delinquent, say 90 days delinquent or 30 days delinquent or even 180 days delinquent, you still have an opportunity to bring the loan current and prevent it from actually jumping off into that default status.
Oh, there we go. I accidentally muted myself. So there, so I know there are some programs going on. Like I know the SAVE program was a big one that a lot of people enrolled in, especially because it cuts that monthly price down substantially. Would that be something that people that these loans are resuming, is that something that these people can get into?
No, Save is dead. Um, it was, it was a new repayment program that, as you pointed out, cut a lot of borrowers' payments down by quite a bit. But unfortunately, it was challenged by 13 state attorney generals as they were saying that the Biden administration went above the authority and under federal law for that plan. The case has not concluded yet, but we know that Save is dead. And in fact, if the courts don't kill it entirely, then it appears that Congress might be ready to do that because the House reconciliation bill that was voted on earlier this week also contained a provision that eliminated the SAVE program. With that said, there are many other lower payment options with federal student loans, some of them that are based on income, although not quite as generous as the SAVE plan was, and others that can also lower the payments, say through interest only payments or by extending the term of the loan. So there are quite a few other options for people that might be struggling with their federal student loan debt.
And what would be the best way for those students now that may have been on the SAVE program to start off, but now that's gone? Who do they contact to kind of figure out what best route to go for them is?
Well, if they're like me and they don't like to talk on the phone, they can go to studentaid.gov and there's information about all those repayment plans I mentioned. You can also verify the status that you're in to make sure you're not really in default. And then there's some great tools there. There's the loan simulator tool where you just have to plug your information in once and it'll tell you what your monthly payment would be under the plans you're eligible for. And almost more importantly, how much those plans will cost you in the long run. If you don't mind talking on the phone, and some people actually prefer to talk to a human, you contact your loan servicer, the people that are holding your loan, and they can walk you through the different options and tell you what you need to do to apply. If you're not sure who your servicer is, again, studentaid.gov is the website to go to, and it'll tell you how to contact whoever's holding your loan. I get this is for federal loans.
And what kind of advice would you give to a student who's stressed out about all of this happening? Somebody who graduated, what year is it? 2025, 6 years ago, thought, hey, we've got some time now. We don't have to worry about this. It's gone. But now, 2025, here it is again.
It's back. Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of borrowers that are experiencing anxiety and frustration. I mean, listen, this is the most chaotic time in the history of student loan policy in my career, and I've been doing this since the dinosaurs roamed. Um, so I get why there's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of potential new changes coming, and so on. The best thing borrowers can do is educate themselves. That I find really reduces the anxiety. Read studentaid.gov, read our website, freestudentloanadvice.org. Your state may have a student loan ombudsman or advocacy unit that has a lot of great information on their website, all of it that's free to access. The more you educate yourself about what your options are, the less anxiety there is, and the more confidence you'll have when you talk to your servicer about the different options.
I think that's all the questions I have. Do you have anything else you want to add that I may not have asked?
Yeah, watch out for scams. All this chaos and this resumption of the involuntary collections, unfortunately, is like birthday, Christmas, and Thanksgiving all rolled into one for the scammers that are out there. You should know that you never have to pay a fee to enter any of these programs, and paying someone to help you with these programs is not going to get you into them any faster or get you qualified for something you normally wouldn't be qualified for. Some of these places say that they work with the Department of Education or work with your servicer. If you're ever in doubt, hang up the phone, don't answer the email, go to studentaid.gov and find the real phone number and real email address for the people that are actually managing your loans.